Hey everybody, we're gonna start the show shortly here, but I'm out in Minneapolis, obviously the kind of epicenter of where all of the George Floyd protests have started, and I think it's important that we say something. We kind of debated whether it was our place to say something or not, and I think it's too important to not say something. So obviously, everybody who hasn't been living under a rock lately knows about the murder of George Floyd by the Minneapolis Police Department. And I think everybody can agree that that is absolutely atrocious and it's something that needs to be stopped. And I think where a lot of the disagreements are happening are about the methods of the protesting. And I think that what's important here to remember is that this is not like as a white person, this is not my place to say. Like, this is not any of our place to say. Our opinions don't matter in this. We cannot possibly, under any circumstances, understand the anger that the African American community has over this. We can't understand, not just a lifetime, but generations of systematic oppression. And we can't understand a system that is built to propagate that oppression. And this isn't about just one bad apple, and it's not about all cops being bad. It's about a system that allows for a police officer, somebody who's supposed to be able to serve and protect, to go and murder an African American and not receive swift and immediate justice, and to have other officers stand by and watch it happen, and to have the entire police force not be completely on board with charging him with murder. And these are things that are important. So there are a lot of people out there that are upset about the destruction of property and all that. And from somebody that's living in Minneapolis where this is happening in my backyard, this is not our place to say. And we don't get to have an opinion on that. We cannot understand this. And no, this is not going to fix racism. Like, racism is not an easy fix. It exists, and it's going to exist for a very long time because it's just not that easy to weed out. But at the very least, this has the nation's attention, and people are caring about this, and people are speaking up. And hopefully this is going to be enough to help at least change some of these systems that are helping to keep racism alive and well within our government and within our society in places of power and places that can affect African Americans on a daily basis. And again, like, this is something we talked about whether or not we should discuss or not, but I think that it's important that we say something, because it's beyond fantasy football. This is about life, and this is about human life. And it matters, and people just need to realize how much this matters, and realize that for a lot of us white people, we can't possibly get this, and we can't understand it, and we can't relate to it, and we can't see this stuff happening, but it is happening, and it matters to other people that are just like us. And so, yeah, we'll get to the show shortly here, but I needed to say my piece on that.
We get a 1, personal space, 2, personal space, 3.
Hey, hello, listeners. This is just a quick disclaimer for this week's episode. As anyone that's listened to the show before knows, there can be some adult language, and anyone that's listening for the first time, please keep that in mind. We tend to be ourselves and not filter, so occasionally a bad word might come out. If you have any children in the room, please put on some headphones or have them put on some headphones. Thank you.
That I don't even care about this. I'm not even interested in having this skin on my personal space.
You're listening to the IDP Guys with Sean, John, and Nathan, the Wizards of Fantasy Football. Your go-to source for the individual defensive player strategy. And now, 3 guys who could only make an NFL team on Madden.
All right, welcome to the IDP guys. My name is Nathan, and we are on episode 113. Joined today with my co-hosts on the left and the right here. We got video going. Johnny.
Hey.
And Sean.
What's up, guys?
Not much. How are you guys doing?
Just enjoying the end of Western civilization.
Yeah. So we are out of quarantine here. Johnny's actually in studio, so that's kind of nice to have some little bit of normalcy coming back. Sean, what about you? How's the COVID treatment out there?
Yeah, nothing's changed for me. I'm still locked up at home. So, I mean, the stay-at-home order is over, but, like, nothing's open. I still have a lot of people close to me that are very susceptible to this, like, couple of my closest friends, and my mom has a respiratory disease. So for me personally, I'm still just staying at home as long as I can until I get called back to work. That's just going to kind of be the situation.
Yeah. So what's bars like out there? Are they, so from
Bars
what I
aren't
understand,
open.
didn't they made the, was it the stay-at-home order unconstitutional?
That was Wisconsin.
Was that Wisconsin?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that was Wisconsin. Yeah. So bars are open out there. Out here, it's some restaurants are open, patio only.
Right. Same here. Outside seating. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we got.
Yeah, it's maximum of 50 people. So, yeah, it's basically like it's not open at this point.
Gotcha.
It's also reservation only, which is like anybody who's ever worked in the service industry knows that having a maximum of 50 people at a restaurant where they're all reservations and there's no maximum amount of time people can reserve tables for is like the ultimate fuck you to a server, where it's like, great, so I'm gonna get these two middle-aged women who are gonna sit there and drink a bottle of wine for 6 hours, and I'm gonna make $4 on them, and then that's my day, and I'm really glad I came to work today. So yeah, I mean, realistically, from the service industry perspective, like, these people were better off not going back to work because they right now cannot make living money doing what we're doing right now.
Yeah, for sure. We opened up a little bit out here, kind of the same thing, outside seating and minimum occupancy. I went out to one of the local restaurants the first day, and it was my family of four. You know, we made sure to tip well, because we knew it had to be tough. And it was just amazing to be able to go out and do something. So definitely feel for anyone that's out there in the service industry or dealing with this stuff. So with that, let's jump into the question of the day. Which defenses are you targeting the most for your IDP this season?
Yeah, so I put this out as a tweet kind of using Tier Maker like a week and a half ago, trying to engage the audience, and then I remembered why I don't do that. But
I don't know how you need reminders.
I just forget every once in a while, you know, like, what a fucking...
Too many good interactions with people on Twitter, Johnny.
Right, what a fucking waste of time that was. Anyways, so I've noticed I've got a lot of Washington defensive line. I got a lot of Dallas defensive line and linebackers, a lot of Chicago linebackers, Carolina, Tampa Bay, San Fran, Rams, Bills, Steelers, and Cincy are all teams I've got a ton of. I've noticed I've been shying away a little bit from Arizona, even though I got some Isaiah Simmons yesterday. Baltimore, definitely. I was looking at this in our Slack chat. They had number one time of possession last year, 35 minutes per game average, which was number one in the NFL. And we were talking about if Jamal Adams ended up going to Baltimore, how much worse that would be for him, because that'd be 7 less minutes a game he would be on the field as compared to being with the Jets in times 16 games. That's like 4 entire games of statistics that Jamal Adams would not have if he played for the Ravens. So no thanks on the Ravens defense. New England, always fuck them. Philly, not much going on in Philly. We'll see what happens this year, though. And Miami, also a shit show. What about you guys? What defenses do you have and are staying away from?
Interestingly enough, I'm actually getting a ton of New England. New England's actually one of the ones that I'm getting an absolute ton of because I think everybody's on the same train as you. Just fuck New England, and I think that they have a couple of pieces. They're just going at like huge discount. Like Hightower, man, these 53 round drafts that we had been doing, I was getting them in like round 40, and it's like that is a starting middle linebacker for a team that you're getting in round 40, and that's insane. And I think Uche is another one, a rookie that has been super undervalued. And I think that Kyle Duggar's probably not being undervalued, to be honest. He might be the one that's being overvalued over in New England. But most of their defense, I think, is being undervalued.
Yeah, I didn't really take any stock of mine, but I know just I've been a couple of my targets have been like grabbing Chargers Kenneth Murray. I think that's correct, right?
Yeah.
Grabbing him late in drafts, just doing this draft with Bryce, and I grabbed him pretty late. People kind of picking over him. Outside of that, I mean, just like Chicago, kind of. I mean, John, you always cover all the teams that we would be picking from anyways. So,
Wait, draft with Bryce?
Not that Bryce.
Not that Bryce.
I was like, Bryce hates fantasy football.
Yeah, no, it's
New guy. Vietnam Private Bryce. IDP guy's writer.
Yeah. So that's those are the teams I'm picking from. Are you ready to take your fantasy draft to the next level? Order your rookie draft guide today, covering 122 rookie prospects in both IDP and offense. A collaboration between your favorite analysts. Pre-order at idpguys.org and dynastyfootballdigest.com.
This week's news.
Alrighty. There is some news, because we've been off for, 3 weeks? First things first, Kyle Bellyfuel, who we had on for an interview a couple weeks ago, reports poop-related road rage. So it is a thing. He's given a first-hand account to me on Twitter. Sean, what say you?
It's not a thing. Just go to the bathroom before you need to go somewhere. Like, I don't know what's wrong with you people that you just can't control yourselves. Like, something is... You guys need to see doctors.
Dietitians.
Whatever it is, you guys have a problem.
Well, that's 3 people now. We know have confirmed poop-related road rage, so the list is growing.
Yes, you run in weird circles. I get it.
Alrighty, addendum to last show as well. Don Shula was a defensive back, not a quarterback. That's why the interception stat didn't make any sense. And the Saints won 30-7 over the Giants, not 45-7. I remember that as more of an ass kicking than it really was. Okay, moving on. Logan Ryan to nowhere, apparently. There was a story when I wrote this down that he was going to the Jets, but that never happened. You guys heard anything else about him signing anywhere?
No, there's still a good number of high-profile guys that haven't signed anywhere. It's kind of bizarre. Usually it doesn't last this long. Yeah, Everson Griffin. Marcus Golden has not been tagged, has he?
I don't know. Clowney also is floating around.
Clowney still, yeah. There's still a good number of players out there.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. There was a string of ridiculous arrests since last show. DeAndre Baker, Quentin Dunbar, Cody Latimer, and Ed Oliver. None of them are super important except Ed Oliver, who joins his boy Quinnen Williams with the Weapons Charge Club, which is unfortunate. But,
I mean, DeAndre Baker was a first-round pick last year.
Yeah. I don't know. Was he ever relevant, though? Fantasy
Maybe
wise?
for
I mean, he could be in the future. He was a rookie. So.
Yeah. Anyway, the Ed Oliver ones are the one to keep an eye on. We'll see how that goes. T.Y. Montgomery signed by the Saints. Thoughts?
Ty Montgomery?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, rotational.
Okay.
Not even. I think it's just backup.
Yeah.
Flacco to the Jets for when Darnold gets mono again. That'll be nice. Carlos Hyde to the Seahawks. That one's not great. What do we think?
No, of course.
Yeah,
I have no idea what to think of the Seahawks backfield.
Right. Are you still buying Penny shares or no?
I don't know what to do because you got Carson, you have Penny, then they signed Carlos Hyde, and then they drafted DJ Dallas, and then they still are talking with Marshawn Lynch, I believe. It's a nightmare. There's nothing.
Yeah, it's a shit show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. D Ford apparently played on a bunch of knee damage last year, and that's why his snaps were limited and his production was limited. He had an operation that cleaned out that knee, and he should be good to go for this season. That's good news, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he'll have some value hopefully this year.
We'll have to see if that's. I mean, it's tough to say. Like, if that was the cause. Probably obviously the cause for the limited snaps, but do they bounce back?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he played well while he was playing.
Yeah,
he just didn't play much.
He just was super rotational.
Right. We'll keep an eye on it. Part of the fallout from my little tier maker engagement thing was that multiple Lions fans claiming Stafford is a top 5 or top 3 fantasy quarterback / regular quarterback, and that they have an elite offense. I just wanted to give you guys a chance to speak on that.
John.
He's top 10. He could end up in the top 5. I wouldn't bank on it, but we actually talked about this on Dynasty Football Digest. He's like one of the sleepers to end up in the top 5, but I think that he's more than likely just top 10.
Mm-hmm. He always has the ability, but they also have the ability to not be top anything.
I mean, last year he was on track for like 40 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. He would have come in at number 3, I think.
Last year he was playing awesome. He's always a great quarterback to grab late in drafts. He's always undervalued.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, speaking of franchise quarterbacks, Taysom Hill to be New Orleans' next franchise quarterback, according to reports. Do we buy this?
No.
Okay, Deion Buchanan signed by the Falcons. This may or may not hurt the Foyesade, however you say it, Aluakun, however you say that.
I don't know.
Shares or guys that are a fan of his. I've seen both reactions on IDP Twitter that this doesn't matter. It's just depth, and Aluakun's the guy to own, besides obviously Deion Jones, and that Buchanan's going to supplant him. So I don't know. What do you guys think? I've never been real impressed with Deion Buchanan.
Yeah, I'm just staying away from both of them. I haven't been really impressed with either of them.
Yeah, that's probably a smart move.
Yeah, I don't know. Aluakun has been the sleeper pick for the last 3 years, and I don't know if he's really kind of come out. So,
well, he only really had an opportunity the year before last year, or was it last year? Whenever Jones got hurt, it might have been the year before. Anyway, we'll see what happens. This one was interesting. I wrote this down thinking of you guys. Jamal Agnew to possibly switch to wide receiver did the virtual wide receivers meeting. So that's where this is coming from. Is this a chance or no? Or what do you guys think?
I think they just drafted somebody who's going to be their kick returner. Or they want to be their kick returner. I think that they don't need him at cornerback, or he hasn't proven to be able to play cornerback. So I think this is them trying to see if there's somewhere else they can use him before they cut him.
Gotcha.
And they're thin at wide receiver. But every time they've played him at wide receiver, it's just gadget plays, and everyone knows it's coming. It's a reverse or a shuffle pass. It's some gadgety play that everyone knows is coming. So, there's no fantasy interest there.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Alrighty, a couple more pieces of not so much news, more notes. So we were talking about this with Marc from Statement Games, whose interview will come up later. So this guy, Raydell Joke Burrito, won the Madden Finals last week. He did not pass once the entire tournament. He used a punter as his quarterback. He handed off every single time. He played defense. He ran the ball. He owned time of possession, and he won $40,000. And it was incredibly awesome. I watched the final game. It was a salary cap style Madden tournament. So by saving, I don't know, 15, 20, 25 million at quarterback, he was able to get a Hall of Fame offensive line, Hall of Fame defensive line, great defense, Gale Sayers at running back. He also saved money at wide receiver because he didn't need to throw. So he just got blocking wide receivers, and he just crushed everyone. It was incredibly awesome to watch. Did you guys see that or hear about that at all?
I heard about it. I didn't see it, but I'd have been thinking about watching it because it sounds awesome.
Yeah, that stuff like that just, it gets me. Like he picked a strategy, he stuck to it, and he perfected it and, executed marvelously. That's good shit. Okay, also another couple notes here. So NASA finds possible evidence of parallel universe. In this universe, up is down, left is right, positive is negative. So if this is in fact a parallel universe where those rules apply, Dan Orlovsky went 16-0 and won a Super Bowl with the Lions.
No, time goes backwards. What that really means is that Lions fans in that universe still have 0-16 to look forward to.
That's a good point. So if time is going backwards.
Right. It also, like, what I'm trying to figure out, because it makes no sense to me, is like, if time is going in the opposite direction in that universe, like, at what point in time are they at? Because, like, the odds of them being at our point in time are not good. So, like, it's not happening now, because if it were happening now, then, like, a second from now, it's no longer happening now, and we're off,
Mm-hmm.
Because we're going in the opposite direction. So, I don't know. They came back and they really reeled in what they said about the parallel universe. They were like, maybe it's not. We might have jumped the gun on that. So
yeah, no, I saw that story. Everyone was freaking out about it. I just thought,
yeah,
because when they originally explained it, they're like, yeah, left is right and up is down and positive is negative, and I was like, holy shit! So if the Lions went 0-16, that means they went 16-0, and Orlovsky has a Super Bowl title.
If only. No, it just means there's more sad Lions fans in the making out there.
Okay, that sounds about right. And last but not least, speaking of NASA, congratulations to SpaceX.
Yeah.
USA, baby, back in space. Did you guys watch that launch yesterday? It was
I did.
Fucking awesome.
Yeah.
You know what was cool, and I was thinking about was...
None of this is fantasy football.
I don't give a shit. We're at episode 113. If you don't know what you're in for by now, then... You're new. You're new here.
Yeah, probably are.
Yeah.
But, no, it was cool. I was watching it on YouTube, and I was thinking about how this is the first live space watch that I could... live space shuttle launch that I could rewind on a device in front of me.
Yeah, last time was 2011. So, yeah, we were still in the dark ages then. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, that was cool.
Cool. MyFantasyFootballShirt.com is your place to get top quality fantasy football gear. Get yourself some merch from some of your favorite podcasts. Need some custom shirts for your league? Contact us today. Just go to MyFantasyFootballShirt.com.
Gut check.
All right, so now's the part of the show where we pair together a couple players and see how they match up and what we think of them. Our gut check, and then we send it out to Twitter and see what you guys think, and then talk about it the next week. So let's go over last episode's gut checks. The first one here is a pair of linebackers. One might be a hybrid. Willie Gay Jr. of Kansas City or Isaiah Simmons of Arizona. What'd you guys think? I don't remember what our...
Oh, Sean blasted me for giving Isaiah Simmons so much shit, but then it's funny because in our Slack chat and on Twitter and in multiple different areas, people agreed with me and said, yeah, I'm not really super into Arizona, and I'm not really super into Simmons.
So, with 248 votes...
Yeah, how do you think this went, Sean? 95% Simmons?
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't be surprised if it's very close to 50-50, but you guys have to remember, I was leading the Willie Gay hype train, and everyone called me an asshole for it. And then suddenly he gets drafted early and goes to Kansas City, and suddenly now I'm the asshole. Get the fuck out of here, everybody.
Well,
I'm sorry that I don't want to take the generational uber athlete. And when I say generational athlete, we have not yet seen an athlete like this at the linebacker position, period, I don't think. So I actually think that this is a reason to use this. Yes, the situation isn't perfect right now, but they didn't spend this top pick on him to not use him and not have him be a feature part of their plan. And if they end up playing him at safety to make room for the linebackers, then you have him playing at safety. So I don't know. Everyone can go fuck themselves.
So with 248 votes, 68% went Isaiah Simmons.
That's higher than I expected, to be honest.
All right, so pair of quarterbacks here. Those top two in the draft, Joe Burrow, Cincinnati, and Tua, I'm not going to say his last name, from Miami.
Tagovailoa.
There you go. 234 votes, 70% Joe Burrow.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it should be way higher, to be honest.
I agree.
But
Yeah.
All right, and the final one here, pair of running backs, J.K. Dobbins of Baltimore and Cam Akers of the Rams. I honestly don't understand this one, but 227 votes for 78% Dobbins.
Huh.
that makes sense, I think.
Yeah, I mean, long term, sure. But, but
definitely dynasty.
Yeah, dynasty, sure. But this year, I don't know how much Dobbins is
Yeah,
gonna...
I mean, when you're putting out a gut check though with rookies, you gotta everyone's gonna assume dynasty.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Yep.
So we got more rookies. This is rookies version, I don't know, 3 or whatever. We're just gonna keep going with these until the season comes around, most likely. First one is we're gonna do 2 offense, 1 defense again because I don't know. There's just more offense. First one's pair of wide receivers. These guys are similarly taken around the same area, kind of. Have similar projections. T. Higgins went to the Bengals. Michael Pittman went to the Colts, and I think I want Michael Pittman just because I don't have a good reason. I
think Pittman's the better wide receiver, and I want Pittman here. I don't have a whole lot of faith in T. Higgins, and this is my one player that's taken early every year that I just am not drafting anywhere because there's a 0% chance he's gonna fall to the place where I would take him, similar to N'Keal Harry last year, and yeah, I don't have a lot of faith in him.
And just a little background here. Pittman was very similar to Ayuk in the college fantasy world last year, where no one drafted him in the startups, but then halfway through the season, he fucking caught fire and was a waiver wire guy that helped you win a title. So that's why I like him better.
Yeah, I don't know too much about these guys, so
You have a rookie magazine. We made this rookie magazine.
When Nate edits stuff, he doesn't actually read it. He just edits it.
I didn't even edit them. I put them into the layout.
But we poured hundreds of hours into this magazine
and
with
it's been
all
amazing.
this information. Read it.
Yeah, so
Read it.
I've been using the magazines a lot for my drafts. I've had 2 so far. The problem is I haven't had any picks in the first 2 rounds in these drafts. So I haven't even been making that decision yet.
Cool. All right, second one's pair of quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts of the Eagles, Jordan Love of Green Bay. I think I want Jalen Hurts. Carson Wentz is made of glass, and I think he can supplant him if he gets in there and can add that little X factor of being a running type quarterback. I think it's totally possible he takes his job from him because he didn't win a Super Bowl anyway. It was Nick Foles. So, just throwing it out there.
Yeah, no, give me Jordan Love. Jordan Love was drafted to be the replacement. I don't know what Jalen Hurts was drafted to be. I don't know whether he was drafted to be a replacement. I don't know if he was drafted to be the depth in case Wentz gets hurt. I just don't know what
gets hurt. When?
The concussion was not his fault. He got speared in the helmet. Everybody gets concussed in that situation. So, yeah, I don't know. For me, I'm going with the guy that they very clearly drafted. And on top of that, you just go draft capital here.
So obviously, Aaron Rodgers is getting traded to the Patriots, so I'm going Jordan Love here.
Yeah, yikes. And last but not least, we got a pair of safeties. Xavier McKinney went to the Giants. Antoine Winfield went to Tampa Bay. I got a bunch of both these guys. I think I'm going McKinney, though. There's less competition for tackles, I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, I'll talk about these two in a minute because I think we have it as the gut check, and then we have a listener question about it, and then I also have my draft segment. But for me, I'm going McKinney.
Yeah, I haven't looked too much into Winfield, but I've been grabbing McKinney where I can. So, Alrighty. All right, so with that, let's launch into the listener questions. If you want to submit a question to us, you can do so on Twitter or become a subscriber and get into our Slack chat. Also, if you feel so inclined, leave us a voicemail, the drunker the better, 313-986-1473, and we will play it on the show like we're about to do with Andrew in Oregon. But first, let's talk Tony from the Slack chat. He says, best rookie safety out there besides McKinney for IDP.
I mean, the big three are McKinney, Winfield, Chin. I've been leaning Winfield, and there's nothing scientific about that. It's that his dad was a part of my early IDP squads, and that's a stupid reason to take someone, but that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't even know why Chin is in this group, to be honest. So, yeah, no, Winfield after McKinney for sure. And again, I'll kind of get into these guys in a little bit here, but yeah, it's Winfield.
All righty.
Cool.
All right, so Andrew in Oregon.
My dudes, it's your guy from Oregon. I don't know if you have anybody else from Oregon. I guess I should clarify myself. This is Andrew. I'm sure you guys already know. Look, I'm just sitting here having a few, tossing some back. It's a simple Tuesday night on some day of the week. Who knows when you'll play this? Look, guys, I'm doing some deep digging, and I want to know some dynasty favorites. What are we looking at here? Who do you love? I want the next Fred Warner. I want the next Tremaine Edmonds. I want the next T.J. Watt. What are you seeing here? Who's the next Jamal Adams? Let's get deep. Let's dive deep. I want to get a big ice cream scoop of the brain of knowledge on this one. Love you guys. I've got some thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. I'll call back with some more thoughts. I'm looking for some deep dives here. Who we poking out with? Who we taking a risk on? Let's bet. Let's put down lunch money. I'll put down my lunch money. You put down your lunch money. Who we got? Put it up. Love you boys.
All right, so deep dynasty dives that we're feeling.
All right, so I think safety is what you're looking at. Let's see. I think you're really not going a whole lot deeper than the McKinney, Duggar, Delpit, Winfield, Chin. I think that like a deep sleeper is Tanner Muse because I think right now, at least on sleeper, he has linebacker and safety eligibility. Another uber athlete playing for the Raiders, where I think their linebackers always have a lot of question marks. If I had to bet on one of those guys that I listed being kind of the guy that comes out of nowhere, it's honestly probably Duggar, and I think that all of those safeties are really guys that are pretty well hyped right now. Looking at linebackers, I really like Davion Taylor and Jordan Brooks as kind of sleepers. Again, everybody kind of knows them, but they're guys that, and I guess I don't know if everybody knows them or if it's just me doing a lot more research than the average human. But those are two guys that I think have the skill set to be really good IDP players. They definitely need to make a few changes to the type of things they do on the football field to get consistent snaps. And then on the defensive line, I actually really like Julian Aquara for Detroit, assuming he has defensive line eligibility in your leagues. Because I think that he was severely underdrafted, and I think he should have been probably talked about in the same range as I actually had him above Gross Matos, who went before him. So I think that he definitely has the potential to be that double-digit sack guy, especially given that the people he's replacing were consistent every year, 7 sack guys, and I think he's more talented.
I got one for you. So Everson Griffin is going bye-bye, right? Ifeadi Odenigbo. John, you live in Minnesota.
Oh, I thought we were talking rookies only. My bad.
No, yeah, whatever. He's just saying deep dynasty grabs. So this guy, I watched him all last year, and he never topped more than like 15, 20% of snaps. He still had 7 sacks, 20-something tackles, had a few monster games. He was always on my, what the hell was the name of that list? Like flash in the pan, because he never played enough, right? It was always like 15% snaps, but 2 sacks and 5 combined tackles, and then people are like, "Oh, I got to get me some Ifeadi Odenigbo," and I'm like, "No, you don't. You're fucking crazy." But now that Everson Griffin's gone, I think that's probably could be a good thing. Plus, no one even knows who this guy is. Like, you're not spending anything to get him. If you end up getting the next Everson Griffin on that team, why not?
Carl Lawson is another one that I'm just waiting to break out. He's such an efficient and just good pass rusher. But he's playing over there with Hubbard and Dunlap, so he's rotating. And I think that once Carl Lawson gets out of Cincy, he's going to be brought in somewhere where they're going to expect him to be a pass rusher all the time. Because you don't have guys like that don't get big money to rush the passer. So Carl Lawson's a nice stash that I think is being undervalued at the moment. Although, like, more than likely in your leagues, there's at least 1 or 2 other people like me that are just like big time Carl Lawson fans.
Yeah, Shaq Lawson too, with the new team. There's no reason why he can't do well over there. Miami was giving Taco Charlton 90-something% of snaps last year.
There's just so many guys over in Miami now. It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
Nate, you want to pitch Calvin Johnson to us?
No, I think that I'm going to leave this to the professionals.
Thank you, Andrew. We love you.
Yeah.
Statement Games is a free-to-play social game with a different twist on fantasy sports. Enter contests based around your favorite sports and rank 10 prop bet statements, competing in a DFS tournament style. Win your contest, get coins, then cash them in for real gift cards. Join Statement Games today via website or app store and get 60 coins free.
Special guest.
Alrighty, so this week we are joined by Marc Salino of Statement Games. You can find him on Twitter at Statement Games. Marc, how are you doing?
Doing all right. Thanks for having me. How's everything going?
It's going, man. As good as lockdown can be. How's things for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's still pretty much like, lockdown, but everything really just started like, opening up a little bit in the past couple of days. And just so that everyone knows, I'm actually on Long Island, New York. So it's not too far from the epicenter where a lot of this stuff was kind of, going down. Some, pretty scary, times over the past, weeks here, but there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel. So just looking forward to some sporting events getting back,
Yeah, absolutely. So we had you on the podcast last, I want to say it was August. Does that sound correct? It's for an interview.
Wow, was it August?
It was August or July.
Yeah, it was right before the season, I think.
Yeah. So wanted to get you back. Glad to have you. And just for some of our new listeners, people who aren't aware, do you want to go through what Statement Games is, what you do, and everything like that?
Yeah, sure. You want me to just give a little bit of a rundown, and we'll go from there?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so Statement Games it's a game. It's a free-to-play game. We have a little bit of a different twist on fantasy sports. It's accessible at statementgames.com, www.statementgames.com. But we also now, I guess that's kind of like new since the last time that we spoke, we have apps that complement our web-based product as well. So if you're more of an app person, you don't necessarily feel like going to a website, search on Statement Games Fantasy Sports, whether it's in the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. You can kind of find this there. And what we do is we create games. They have a little bit of a different twist on fantasy sports. We create tournaments around specific sporting events. So, for example, the Patriots are playing the Giants. If you want to play that game, I'm going to present you with a list of props, or hence the company name statements, that are specific to the Patriots-Giants game. Daniel Jones over under 265 yards passing. Patriots defense over or under 2 sacks for the game here. There's probably a list of anywhere between 50 to 60 props that are specific to that sporting event that we're going to present to you. It's your job to pick 10 of them and rank them in order of confidence from 10 through 1. So as that sporting event plays out, if your number 10 pick becomes correct, you get 10 points. If 9 through 1 are incorrect, well, now you just have a total of 10 points. Like regular fantasy football or traditional fantasy football, you're going to play in a league of anywhere between 8 to 12 people. The person with the most points from correct picks at the end of that specific sporting event wins. You're competing for what we call Statement Games coins. We have a whole reward section that's filled with anywhere between, I think we're close to about like 100 different merchants, Starbucks, Dunkin' Donuts, Nike, Under Armour, NFL Shop. You're exchanging your coins or your credits for a cash gift card of your choice. So in a nutshell, that's who we are. That's what we do. And hopefully that gives you a better idea of how we're positioned in space.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. The app, I've been using that quite a bit since you launched it, because that was, when did that go out? Close to the end of the season, right?
Yeah. From a Google perspective, like beginning stages of November, but from an iOS perspective, it really wasn't towards the tail end of November, early December. So yeah, towards the tail end of 2019 for both. Yeah,
no, it's a great. The app works really well for me. I was doing the website before that, but what about you guys? You guys have been playing it a little bit, right?
Yeah. It's been part of the Johnny the Greek segment the entire last season there, and I'll fully admit I started out slow, but towards the end I placed a few times and got some coins. Nate won a jersey, so that was cool. What I like about it is it's like you're guessing how the game's gonna go. Like, I don't know. I remember like Kansas City, Chicago was one, and I was like, oh man, this one's gonna be interesting because Chicago's got a good defense, but Kansas City's Kansas City and Chicago sucks. So, like let's that's probably how the game's gonna go. Like they're gonna get smoked.
Yeah, that's kind of what I found with the Statement Games like strategy for playing is I tried to determine the storyline for the game,
right,
and then pick my props based off of that.
Yep.
So, and obviously it worked out for me one time, and then I did the draft tournament that you had and did pretty well in that. and that was
Yeah, where'd you place them at? Because I think I gave you all your answers for that.
I did. I was on the phone with Sean, just like, hey, what do you think about this? Going over it, and I think I might have gotten second or third or something. But I got coins off of it. It was good. I enjoy it. It's a fun little free side game to play for my football.
It is, and it's totally free to play at this point in time. And
That's the point that needs to be reiterated.
Right.
There's no downside.
Right, there's no downside to this at all. You can spin the wheel every day and get free coins, so you can just keep yourself going and keep entering contests. And I remember the first time you guys came on, you talked. There was a story about Thanksgiving and how that's
into that.
Yeah, can you reiterate that real quick? I thought that was really cool, like how this whole thing started.
Yeah, sure. So this concept or this game is one that I've been playing within my family for close to or a little over 25 years now. So my dad came up with the concept. I live on Long Island. I grew up on Long Island. Every single year we'd make a trip up to the Boston area for Thanksgiving. It was just kind of part of a ritual. Now, in my household, me and my brother, we were raised to literally, it was New York Giants, New York Yankees, Rangers, and Knicks. That was it. We didn't have a choice. We couldn't root. We couldn't look at anything else here. So that kind of that model backfired on my dad, because on Thanksgiving Day, all the thing that he wanted to do was he doesn't cook, he doesn't want to do errands, he just wants to watch football the entire day. That's it. Well, me and my brother, we could care less because it wasn't the Giants who were playing. So my dad had to kind of create this game that kind of hooked us into something that was other than Giants, and he also had to make it easy enough for my aunts, my grandmother, and my cousins who are Patriot fans and things like that to want to play the game as well. Because if the whole family wasn't united and on board with this game here, he couldn't do what he really wanted to do, which was watch the Lions game or the Cowboys game kind of around 4 o'clock. So pretty much he started generating buzz for the game immediately after breakfast Thanksgiving morning. He'd start pulling family members into a corner of a room, and you'd have a sheet of paper, and he'd physically start asking you questions about the Lions game. Barry Sanders over under 100 yards rushing. Herman Moore over under 7.5 receptions for the game. I remember the first time that we played, Jim Harbaugh was the quarterback of the Bears who were playing the Lions. Jim Harbaugh over under 250 yards passing. There was probably, I don't know, maybe 13 of us, 14 of us at the house for Thanksgiving. Every family member would throw in a buck. Now everyone was kind of locked into, for all intents and purposes, a meaningless football game. The Lions were never good, and
still aren't.
Now we were, now we're kind of locked in. We were, I don't know, at 12 years old, I was ecstatic because I had an opportunity to win $15. I was freaking pissed because my brother won that first year. I was so kind of mad, but it was just kind of funny. But the whole family had fun with it. My aunt kind of referred to this as the football bingo game here. It was just something that kind of brought our families kind of together, playing a little bit of a game around sports here, and we've pretty much been doing it every single year for the past 25 years. And I guess around 2017, I launched a family game into what you're currently seeing, now. But it's a family originated concept. I've been doing it for years.
So when you decided to take statement games into the public sphere, what kind of went into that? What's your background, and what made you decide to create an app around a game that your family did?
Yeah, sure. So I got a pretty extensive background in different forms of advertising and marketing. My last corporate position, I was the president of a publicly traded company. And in that role here, I did a lot of work with telco operators and app stores and games developers, and where you're working with the games developers, they're submitting a game into an application store, and then you're kind of working with AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile, and things like that, so that you could provide some type of infrastructure, and where if you want to buy something from within the app, or if you maybe had to spend 99 cents to kind of get the app, how that whole process infrastructure work. So I learned a lot about how games were being developed, how they were being marketed and distributed within app stores, and how they were actually being monetized on the back end. So after years in that position and that type of work here, I've always enjoyed Dad's concept or Dad's game, I looked at it from a perspective of, hey, you know what? I'm getting a little bit older in life here. If I don't take a shot or a crack at something like this now, I'll regret it and, be pissed off at myself. So left the corporate space in October of 2016 and have been pretty much pursuing this ever since.
Cool.
Yeah, man, and I think the timing is getting right too. Like New Jersey approved FanDuel and DraftKings and everyone else for sports betting. It's like that's starting to become more of an accepted thing. Connecticut allows me to do FanDuel and DraftKings. There are other states that aren't about that, but it feels like it's becoming more and more accepted. Do you feel like that statement games is going to be like part of the conversation when New York and the rest of the country finally is like, all right, let's do this with sports betting?
I mean, it's pretty interesting. I'm not sure if you guys follow stocks or anything like that or the market here, but if you take a look at what DraftKings and Penn Gaming from a stock perspective have actually done in the past couple of weeks here, it's pretty kind of impressive. Recently, when I guess DraftKings released their IPO, I think they released it at 19 or $20 a share or something like that. It's pretty much trading close to 39 and 40 right now in a very short period of time. So. Yeah. It's pretty kind of impressive with what we're actually doing. And yet, I kind of operate in the free-to-play space here, obviously to keep costs down and to not necessarily have to, sidestep the legal minutia that comes along with operating kind of real money games here. But I see it all the time. I mean, people are creating private games within the Statement Games tournament. I know that they're doing so because they're most likely playing for money on the back end here. It's got nothing to do with me. So that's one way in which the community is bypassing that hurdle. From our perspective here, I think it really makes sense for us to continue going down the path that we're actually going down and, hopefully build a viable product and, get people used to it and liking it and continuing to build the traction here, and then hopefully getting an opportunity to partner up with one of these real money gaming providers and where a partnership with them can actually add a component of real money gaming to this program.
Right. And
at a high level here, that's the strategy.
Yeah, and you're already seeing it. FanDuel bought up Draft App last year. That was that they came out of nowhere and they were real successful, and then they just got eaten up by FanDuel. So I don't know if that's what you're aiming for, but it's definitely doable. You know what I mean? It's doable. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, I like the game itself, especially from a DFS perspective. It's simpler,
right?
But still involves a lot of strategy,
right?
So the learning curve in your FanDuel, your DFS is where you're picking individual players. There's a lot that goes into that. Plus, there's so many people that can game the system with the algorithms and stuff. And it seems like with just the prop bets and everything, it's simpler, but it's also, I feel like, less easy to manipulate and so you're playing kind of at an even field with everyone. It's literally just how do you think the game's gonna go,
right? Rather
than trying to get cheap players and all this kind of stuff. It's cut and dry. You don't have to take a lot of time to figure it out.
And you guys, it's obviously more than just football too. You guys do pretty much every major sport.
That's honestly something that we're working on. We're getting pretty excited for. I think as we get closer to the 10th and 11th of June, we're going to be taking our first shot and stabs at professional golf. I believe that's the first tournament that kind of comes back from a PGA perspective. Yeah. What we were talking about before is one of the challenges that we're definitely trying to address, and just so that your audience knows here, I mean, the person with the most points from a correct picks at the end of a sporting event wins, but we're awarding coins for first, second, and third prize here. So we understand from a traditional DFS perspective, I think right now I read a report that it's a little less than 2% of the people who win about 98% of the DFS prize pool.
Yep.
So with Statement Games, when you think about it from a perspective of, hey, you know what, it's skill, but you're only playing in tournaments of anywhere between 8 to 12 people. Right. And technically you're winning by coming in first, second, and third here. Yeah. The probability of from a statistical perspective, the chances of winning something in a game like ours is a lot more likely than playing in a DFS pool of over 1,000 people or something like that.
I will never win a GPP. I've been playing FanDuel for 4 or 5 years now. It's never going to happen.
But it's fun. I mean, I still do it. It's not like I'm trying to replace that product. This is, hey, you know what? I don't know about kind of like you guys, but I've definitely dabbled and played around with betting on sports here, and there's always kind of like people who always preach, hey, you never kind of like bet on your team here, and it's like, all right, well, I still want to compete. I still feel like I have a competitive advantage because I know my team more so than the general public.
Right.
A game like Statement Games gives you an opportunity to really dive down deep into an event that you're specifically interested in or potentially following a little bit more closely from a general public perspective here. So if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan or a Lions fan or a Giants fan or a Patriots fan or whatever it is here, you know your team better than an outsider. So why not kind of like, utilize that inside information in a fun way that gives you an opportunity to compete without having to worry about, well, hey, I'm not sure if the Patriots are going to win today here, but I know for a fact here that Sam Darnold ain't throwing for over 245 yards against this defense. It's that type of stuff that we're kind of getting into and addressing.
Right.
And why not, have fun with it, leverage that information in a way that still gives you an opportunity to compete and win something.
Absolutely. He's too busy seeing ghosts. Yeah, he's not throwing for 240. So
mononucleosis.
Yeah, and getting mono. Right. So we were talking about this before we started recording. You guys are going to be doing some stuff with esports. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
So, I mean, obviously, as we wait for mainstream kind of like, sports to come back as a company, we got to get creative and creating inventory or games for the audience to kind of like, play. So this past week here, we actually started streaming NBA 2K games directly from the Statement Games platform.
Oh, wow.
It hasn't been implemented into the app yet, but from a .com or web perspective here, if you log into Statement Games, you can actually see every Thursday and Saturday afternoon an NBA 2K game 20 being streamed within the platform. We're creating tournaments almost like in the same way that we're running regular NBA games, and where you can actually make picks, take a look at lineups and handicap off of esport ratings and things like that from NBA 2K. And play that game just like you would play any other NBA game, and then actually watch the game from within the platform as well. And there's some broadcasters and things like that that's getting creative. So that type of concept are things that we're exploring right now, and we're probably going to start replicating it pretty soonly with Madden.
Nice. Cool. And it's we're obviously sports guys. We're paying attention to the news. It sounds like NBA is on its way back. NHL is going to launch right into playoffs with an interesting format, that's for sure. We're on track for football, so we'll get there. But I think it's cool that you guys are offering continued ways to use the platform in the meantime.
Using golf.
So I feel like esports doesn't have to go away once real sports come back.
Yeah.
That's still a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
We're testing it out. I'm very curious to see how the user base reacts to it, if they like it, if they dislike it. That's something that we're pretty proactive in doing, and where we're always looking for feedback from the community. What do they like? What feedback can they offer, good or bad? Please share it with us. But in addition to the esports stuff, we come up with games like we have done for the NFL draft. As of right now, we have another NFL game up here that's a little bit more in line with over-under win totals. Mm-hmm. For example, Giants over under 6.5, kind of like wins for the year. You're handicapping all 31 teams against their win totals. Same thing, picking out 10 picks, ranking out for from 10 to 1.
Yeah, I remember at the end of this past season when my picks came in from last, July or June. And just going like, oh my God, what was I thinking? That's got to be the hardest contest to accurately pick.
Yeah.
Especially now. But hey, look, it's what other choice do we actually have here? It's either that or kind of like have nothing up. And football's always kind of like a good draw. And hey, it's from my perspective, it's just fun to take a look at those type of numbers now, seeing how they differ once training camp starts and once it kind of ends. And again, it's just a game. You're having fun with it. It's just got a little bit of a different twist on the traditional products that are in the market today.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. So while we got you on here, we did want to talk a little Giants. Do Daniel Jones,
Sure.
year 2. What are your thoughts and predictions for the Giants this year, Mr. Jones, and just the season in general for the Giants?
Oh man, I mean, I have no idea. I mean, I'm hopeful that he turns the ball over less. Of course, you're always optimistic that the team would actually improve and get better. I like the moves that they're doing. I understand the direction they're actually going in. But I've kind of like been beaten up like a little bit over the past couple of years. So until I actually see something, you really can't get your hopes up too much here. I mean, what are they? I think they're the worst team in football over the course of the past 3 years, which is pretty embarrassing. My prediction is that they have no other choice to get better because that's the only way that they can actually go. They can't get any worse. So I mean.
Tell that to the Lions, man.
Yeah, we got 2 Lions fans here, so could be worse.
No, but hey, look, I think the kid can play.
He showed that.
I think he's got a lot of talent. He's a completely different quarterback from the old guard and Eli.
Yep.
But hey, you know what? The turnovers are a problem. Well, they were a problem. But I guess you can kind of say that with just about every other rookie quarterback that's entered in this league, whether it's Peyton Manning or Eli Manning or Daniel Jones and things like that. Here, they got to learn the game, and the only way that they're going to learn is to get them out there and play. I think you have the running back that's going to be a little bit more healthier this year, and hey, you know what? You spent a lot of capital, draft capital, on the line, so let's see what happens.
Right. What do you think of the McKinney pick? Do you like that for kind of replacing Landon Collins, who took off last year?
I like the pick. I think it kind of it makes sense. But I would actually be lying if I told you and I sat down that I watched a lot of Alabama secondary games over the course of this past year. So hey, it sounds kind of good. Over the past couple of years, it just seems like the secondary has been able to stop nobody, regardless of who they shot out there. I mean, I still have nightmares about whether it's Jason Witten or pick a freaking tight end running a seam pattern over the middle and gashing the Giants for 30 or 35 yards. It just seems like it's common. So I think he's a little bit more of in the box type of a guy, but can, I guess, cover some of those slot guys or tight ends that are built a little bit more like wide receivers. But he's a rookie, so let's see kind of what happens.
Right, absolutely. You guys got anything else, or should I do our normal?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so we ask every interview before the season, give us your stupid early prediction for the season. So who you got in the Super Bowl in May?
All right, early Super Bowl. Let's see here. How about? Let me see here. I'm going to go with. How about Baltimore and Dallas?
Ooh. I would love to see that.
You would.
I would love to see that. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I think Dallas would get annihilated, but I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, nice. Cool, man.
Just something kind of a little bit different. We'll make it kind of stupid here. I could be wrong here, but something about San Francisco just doesn't appeal to me.
It's Jimmy G.
I think Dallas has a good opportunity to get off to a pretty decent start. I don't like Philadelphia. I don't trust Breeze and New Orleans anymore. So I'm going to give Dallas a shot, and then Baltimore. What is there about that team that you don't like?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, everything's pointing up for them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For sure. Alrighty. Marc, thank you so much for coming on the show. For everyone out there, you can find him at Statement Games. Make sure you're playing statementgames.com. Download the app, iTunes, Google Play, all that stuff. Get in there. You get 60 free coins just for signing up. So you got no reason not to just give it a shot.
So it's a one-click sign up. You can use your Google login.
Yeah, Google, Facebook logins, all of that. I think you just added Apple as well for login system, didn't you?
Yeah, that's kind of new. I'll make it kind of like in a deal too. I mean, I know it's May, but and I think there's only like a couple of days left before we stop running that initial NFL over on the wins tournament. But as you put out your show, if anyone who comments underneath your tweet or whatever social media channel that you go ahead and post, just like a reference to statement games, if they go 10 for 10 with their NFL over under picks, in addition to the coins that they win, I'll send them $500 as well.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Whoa.
It's a free lottery ticket. You got to
There you go.
go 10 with
Yeah,
the picks, though. And you got to comment on your post that you put out, kind of like about the show.
Yeah.
Sign up for statement games. It's free. It's easy to log in here. If you get into the NFL over under wins tournament, go 10 for 10 with your picks. I'll send you $500.
Oh, all right. Well, you heard it there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no reason not to jump on there and make some picks. I think
When
you
does
know,
when does the tournament officially end? Just so that,
now Sean's yeah.
It might.
it's more for our listeners because this will get released tomorrow. So just
Right.
I think tomorrow will be like the last day, but as we hit into June, now that we have more information on what's kind of like taking place up here, there will be another one up. So whether you get into this one that's kind of like taking place right now, and if you don't have an opportunity to get into it, there will be one up in June. You just got to keep an eye out for it. But if you don't share this post or let IDP guys know through some type of comment that they're in and they want to kind of play and things like that here, you can still kind of play, but the $500 offer won't be valid.
yeah. So it's a two-step entry. Play the game and comment below the post.
There we go.
So
Correct. Yep.
awesome.
Yep.
Well, Marc, again, thank you so much for coming on at statementgames.com. Always a pleasure, man.
All right, man. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Be safe.
Thanks, man.
Dynasty Football Digest, your new essential site for Dynasty information. For as little as $1 a month, gain access to all that we have to offer. Rankings, trends, ADP, in-season assets, and a Slack chat just for subscribers. Purchase today at dynastyfootballdigest.com.
Check the rankings.
Alrighty, so we're going to bring back a segment Johnny threw in here, our steak and salad. We did this last season. I guess we're gonna go through it.
It's one of the few segments we can do in the off season,
Yeah,
so I brought it back.
sounds good. Johnny, you want to kick it off?
Yeah, my steak is Tom Clancy's Wildlands, which is a 2017 open world shooter where you and 3 other Navy SEALs get dropped into Bolivia and just raise hell on the local narco traffickers using such things as recruiting and training local militias, mortar strikes, airstrikes, attack helicopters, silenced weapons, just night vision and drones and EMP. It is fucking awesome. It's a bunch of drug dealer guys with machine guns, and you just fuck them up across this giant map in Bolivia, and it's great. And I've been looking for a game to kill time between whatever's coming out next. What is coming out next? I don't even know.
I don't know.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Right. And then whenever the next
It's
Final Fantasy
allegedly
7.
coming out next. I've been waiting a decade for that. So.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool with Keanu Reeves. So yeah, that's been great for killing time. What do you guys got? Steak.
Go ahead, Sean.
Steak is I got like a $1,000 to $1,100 computer that I just built with all the parts coming soon, and I'm pretty psyched about that. I'm pretty excited to get that up and rolling and be able to actually have a PC that works and not this shitty piece of shit laptop that decides to hook up to the internet when it wants to. And if you hit the brightness, then it just goes completely dim and you have to uninstall and reinstall the driver to see anything. So
Nice. There you go.
that's not a joke. That legitimately happens. I haven't on purpose touched the brightness in over 5 years. So
Wow.
yeah, I got a nice PC coming now.
Nice.
Cool. Congrats.
Yeah.
Cool. So my stake is we got the magazines out.
And they're beautiful.
They're very pretty. Still waiting on the IDP mag to be delivered, but it's been printed. And they're all available on either idpguys.org or dynastyfootballdigest.com. Take your pick. You can get the instant download, or you can order a physical magazine and have it shipped to your door.
Yep. And I got there's one sitting right in front of me right now, but I got mine at home. It's beautiful. It legitimately looks like something you'd buy at CVS or Walgreens. It's awesome. It's a real magazine. It's cool.
Yeah. Thank you to everyone out there, Sean included, who helped put that together and get it done. It's the coolest project I think I've been a part of since we started this whole football podcasting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right, time to toss some salads. The Dak contract negotiations. Man, is he catching some shit about the leaked thing where he wants like $45 million the last year, and he turned down all this money and this, that, and the other. And I don't know how much of that is horseshit and how much of that is real, but I have faith that Dak is a good guy and that he will play with or without the contract, and that it'll get done. So I'm not all that worried. What about you guys? Salads.
Go for it, Sean.
Nate, go ahead.
Okay, me. So speaking on the magazines, the IDP mag is coming in a couple days, and then I'm immediately going on vacation. So my salad is that there's a chance I might not be able to get those out until mid-June. So just so everyone's aware.
Well, you'll get the digital, right?
Yeah, digital's available for everyone that orders the print mag. But the physical magazines, if you are getting the IDP guys one or the combined, I'm going to do my best to get it out. It just depends on when it's shipped and what I have going on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
When it's delivered, I guess.
Yeah, and we touched on my salad at the beginning of the show, so I don't think a whole lot more can be said about that. But just being in Minneapolis and all the stuff that's going on is obviously my salad right now.
Yeah,
no doubt,
for sure. So let's toss some more salads. Sean, kick into your draft segment.
Sure. So we're gonna talk safeties real quick. So Xavier McKinney going to the Giants. He's probably the most well-balanced safety in this class, and he has almost no real question marks about him, which is why he was kind of the top safety. He doesn't have the same upside as some of the other guys, but he's just really good at everything he does, really well-balanced. And, the Giants is a good spot to land. There's a lot of tackles to be made over there. So I really like that for McKinney. Kyle Duggar to New England, very raw player, very questionable landing spot with how New England uses their players, and also how infrequently they put a large load on rookies. But I think long term, that's a good situation for him, just because he's going to get time, and he has such a unique skill set because he is such a ridiculous athlete. And I think that Bill Belichick's going to know how to use that. And his ability to just kind of bounce between safety and linebacker, I think, is something that is going to benefit him being in New England, just because I think that Belichick's going to kind of find ways to use him all over the formation, and that's great for his skill set. Grant Delpit in big play leagues, great. Going to the Browns. In tackle leagues, he actually might be the worst tackler I've ever seen. I'm not being facetious. He might be the worst tackling player that I've actually looked at as like a top end NFL prospect. It's just like flat out embarrassing. But his instincts and ball skills are just insane, and his stickiness and coverage is insane. So if you're playing in a league that highly rewards interceptions, pass deflections, stuff like that, like he's solid, and he's going to be on the Browns. And I think that if there's anywhere that he's going to have a chance at a lot of tackles, I think the Browns is probably a good place to be. Antoine Winfield on the Bucks, great spot, great player. probably would have been my safety one, to be totally honest, but he's just got a lot of injury concerns, and that's really what you're risking here. So if you're okay with the injury risk, then go for it. If you're not, then don't. Jeremy Chin, very similar to Duggar in terms of profile, just like super good athletes. The tape is borderline unwatchable because of how bad the competition he was playing against is, where it's just like, it's so tough to glean certain things out of that. I think the Panthers is a good spot though. Like Eric Reed racked up ridiculous amounts of tackles, being one of the like least actually productive least efficient safeties in terms of actual on the field performance according to PFF. So yeah, great spot to be. Still not great at linebacker over there, so love the landing spot. I just wouldn't expect great things right out of the gate. Brandon Jones to the Dolphins, I didn't really love the tape. I think he's a better IDP player than he is actual player. He's plus tackler, very aggressive, all that stuff. But I just don't know that he has the size or strength to play up in the box consistently. And I don't know that he's sticky enough in coverage to play deep. So I don't know where his place is on the field. But yeah, it's a good spot. I just didn't really like the player that much. Blackman, again, is kind of a tweener where he does a lot of things really well, but like then some of the things he doesn't do well just don't work with those things that he actually does well. So, you know, like I don't know that he has the long speed to play single high. I don't know that he's sticky enough to play in the slot, and I don't know that he's good enough at getting off blocks to play up in the box. So, like, he has a ton of really good things, but he's just kind of a tweener. Tanner Muse, he's a complete unknown. He played safety. He's going to play linebacker in the NFL. He's super athletic, but just was not good enough in coverage to play safety in the NFL. I don't know what he's going to look like. I like the spot. I like the athleticism. It's a wild card. I did not like him as a safety. I like him more as a linebacker. Terrell Burgess, I actually like a lot as a player. He's not great in run support, late draft capital, and the Rams just isn't really the best spot to be. So that's kind of just like a late flyer for me. And then Kayvon Wallace, drafted as a safety, but he's going to play slot corner. He played I don't even know why he was labeled as a safety in college. He basically just played nickel corner at Clemson. So
Cool.
Nice.
The IDP Guys is your #1 resource for IDP information for your fantasy leagues. For as little as $1 a month, get access to all that we have to offer: rankings, ADP trade calculator, in-season assets, and a Slack chat to get personal help all year round. Purchase today at idpguys.org.
Johnny the Greek.
Alrighty. So we are going through the props and futures for next year's NFL season just because there's nothing else to bet on right now. Okay, so I looked at those and I found one, 2020-2021 AP NFL Coach of the Year. Obviously the odds-on favorite is...
Bill Belichick.
That is correct. Followed by Kyle Shanahan, Mike Vrabel, Andy Reid, Bruce Arians, Frank Reich, and Kevin Stefanski. If you had to put a gun to my head and make me take one of these, it would be Belichick, without a doubt. I do think that Frank Reich is an outside shot with good odds, good money odds, not good actual odds. At plus 2,000, you're talking $10 gets you 200 or something like that. It's not bad.
Miami, right?
No, Frank Reich, he is Colts.
Colts.
Yep.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yep, with Rivers there, with Jonathan Taylor at running back, with some wide receiver help, a defense that might be a little bit improved with DeForest Buckner. I could see them making the playoffs and maybe Reich getting some consideration for Coach of the Year. What do you guys think? Anyone stick out to you on this list?
yeah, I was going to say Reich. Also, I think Stefanski. It has an outside shot just because I think he has to do less to win that award. Like, I think the coach that writes the Browns is going to be just like universally like accepted, you know? Eventually somebody has to write the Browns, and if it's him, then coach of the year I think is a good shot.
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah, I think it's going to be someone who does something miraculous like that, like the Browns, or possibly Bruce Arians is down there in Tampa, right? Yeah. So with Tom Brady going there, and maybe like they do something, get through the playoffs miraculously, like I could see that happening. You know, something where it's or Vrabel there in Tennessee. Tennessee coming in for a second year into the playoffs and doing well. Something like that, I think, is the storyline that'll end up happening for that. Or it's just Belichick who lost Brady and
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter.
He just takes Jarrett Stidham and goes to the Super Bowl.
Right, and I think that's the easy money there. But.
Yeah.
Yep, agree.
So. Alrighty, so with that, thanks everyone for joining the show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at IDP Guys. Individually, I'm at Nate Cheat. Sean is at Lanny1925, and Johnny here is at Orangeman3142. Subscribe to the show. Go to idpguys.org. On the sidebar is links to iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and an RSS feed for the podcatcher of your choice. While you're there, become a subscriber. We've got some great data, and just we've got a trade calculator. There's just so much stuff that's going up there now, and I'm actually, after this podcast, going to be flipping over to the June data. It's all up there. I just have to link it onto the nav bar, so we'll have all fresh stuff starting pretty much immediately. Once, if you're listening to this, it's there. So that you get for essentially $1 a month. We have 2 websites. You can get a multi-website pass, or if you want to throw in the magazines as well, it goes all the way up to, you can just get everything we offer every year for about $50 a year. So with that, also make sure you're following, subscribe to the YouTube channel, Writer Digest Network. That's where all of our shows, video content goes. This show will be up there. If you're watching the video, you definitely know where the YouTube channel is. DFD, Dynasty Football Digest, is there. Sean co-hosts that one. We've got some more shows coming on pretty soon. IDP Nation will be hosted there. And Dig, I don't even remember the Dynasty Devi something. Shit, I should probably know what that acronym means.
Is that something Hollywood's doing?
Yeah. Well, so we've got Hollywood and Seahawks Dan now on staff. So they're essentially, once I get everything together for them, they need some video intros and stuff. All of their shows will be hosted on that YouTube channel. So
and they're doing a Devi show?
Yeah, they've been doing a Devi show for a while.
Nice. Well, I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know. It's all over, IDP Twitter. I don't know how much you interact.
I try not to anymore.
But yeah, so there's gonna be.
I'm the one that doesn't like to talk to people.
Oh, man.
That was my thing. You can't have it, Johnny.
Yeah, but no, that's awesome that Hollywood came on board too. Thanos just adding another stone to the gauntlet.
Yeah,
you're due for that meme.
I know. I've been meaning to put that together, but at the same point, like, I'm sure there's going to be a few people out there in IDP Twitter that won't be too happy to see that. So
they can eat my ass.
Yeah, but yeah, some great stuff. We got a lot. We've got Devi content coming onto the website. Hollywood's been doing some of that stuff. Just so many good articles. I can't say how awesome it has been for the growth we've seen this year. So with that, just want to kind of thank everyone for joining the show. Sean, stay safe out there.
Yep, Carol Baskins killed her husband.